Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode 2 of my makeup series. If you guys missed the first episode, I covered all about our base. So how we prep our skin, prime our skin, foundation, concealer, powder, and setting our face. If you guys missed that, I will leave that link down below so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But in today's video, we are going to be talking about contouring. So basically how we sculpt and shaped our face. We are going to be doing bronzer, blush, highlight, everything like that. So be sure to hit the subscribe button so you guys are aware of when I do post a new video. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, when we talk about contouring our face, we're talking about sculpting our face and really shaping and molding our face to kind of how we want. Basically, it's kind of a form of art in a way is how I look at it. So basically, you want to look at different parts of your face. So we have our forehead, we have our cheekbones, and we have our jawline and neck area. So when I first start to contour and kind of shape everything out, I like to kind of look as if you're thinking of like a number 3. And by 3, I mean our forehead, going down into our cheekbone, coming back up and going down into our jawline. So if you really imagine it, it's like a number 3. And that's kind of like the basics for when you're contouring and kind of like the guideline that you want to think of. When it comes to your face shape, everybody has a different face shape. Everybody has different face sizes. Like some people are going to have smaller foreheads than me. Some people are going to have larger foreheads. Some people are going to have a wider area right here or a more narrow area, not very much space. Some people are going to have a shorter face. Some people aren't even going to have much of a jawline. So it really just depends on your face shape and catering to your needs and how you want to shape your face. So for me, since I have, for instance, let's start with the forehead. I have a larger forehead. I got a lot of room up here. So for instance, when we are talking about like contouring and bronzing, I like to generally bring it all across my forehead. So by shadowing this area, you're creating the illusion that it's smaller than what it really is. Same with your cheekbones. You're creating that it's more hollow, more slimming than it really is. Same with your jawline. If you're putting bronzer and contour under here, you're creating the illusion that it's more chiseled out, if that makes sense. So depending on your facial type, I generally just all across the board, I like to bronze and contour this top area. No matter what, no matter like your forehead size, I always like to do that because if you're looking at right here and you're only going to contour your cheekbones and that's it, it's not going to really look proportionate. It's going to kind of look a little awkward when you only have this part that's contoured and not the rest of your face. So no matter what your forehead size is, I always like to put just at least a little bit right there. If you don't have a large forehead, you don't have to, put a whole lot. Like you wouldn't put as much as I would put because then you'd pretty much be bronzing your whole forehead, right? So just put a little bit at the top and it'll make everything look a lot more proportionate. Also, when it comes to the side of your face right here, some people don't have a lot of room right there. So if you really don't have that much space, the side of your temple area, you don't necessarily have to bronze or contour that area because there's not a lot of space, so it's pretty much not going to look right. So like I said, put a little bit at the top and then work down to your cheekbones. I have more space, so I literally cover all territory. Okay, so let's get started with bronzing. So for bronzing, not everybody likes to do it. You certainly don't have to. It's kind of like an extra step. I personally love to bronze just because I am more fair skinned. I am more of a pale skinned person, so I like to warm up my face whenever is possible, especially when I only have my foundation on, because as you can see now, I just have foundation on and I look pretty flat. I look pretty white right now, so let's warm up this face a little bit. For starters, I like to use my butter bronzer. This is my tried and true. A lot of people love this product. This is from Physicians Formula. So I'm going to be taking this product and I'm going to be going in with my Morphe M527. This brush is really nice because it's big, it's fluffy. This is great for just doing a kind of like a quick all over, just the warmth of the face. This isn't really a brush that you would use for chiseling or like sharp lines or anything, but this is really great to just like warm up those certain areas of your face. So I'm going to be using this today and I'm going to go in with my brush and just kind of swirl it around, tap off the product. I'm going to take that brush and we're going to start with our forehead. And I'm kind of just going to lightly dust it back and forth over the top. You kind of want to really keep it up there. And you can also take your hand and kind of push your baby hairs back. I get a lot of baby hairs, so if I don't pull them back, they're going everywhere. So I like to pull them back a little bit. Like I said in the previous video, make sure you're getting into your hairline. And if you guys go back and watch that first video, I can show you guys if you do get powder on your hair, how to clean that up. We're just gonna kind of go back and forth, really buffing it and working it in to that hairline. we're gonna go to the other side, back and forth. And you can kind of think of it like a painting, or if you're drawing and you kind of just want to shade something. So kind of like that motion if you're like shading something, or you're coloring, or if you're in a coloring book. So that motion of just shading, going back and forth. And notice how I'm not bringing it very far down. I'm going about halfway, and I'm mainly keeping the product at the very, very top of my hairline. And then whatever is left, I'm kind of bringing it down and blending it out. So we're gonna start moving down to the side of our face. Like I said, I have more space here, so I'm gonna bronze a little bit right here. If you don't have a lot of space, you can certainly skip this step though. I'm gonna bring it down the hairline just a little bit, connecting it to my forehead and making sure everything is just smooth and seamless. Just remember, shadow is gonna take away and light is going to enhance. Okay, so next we're gonna be working on to the middle part of like the number 3, if you will. We're gonna be working on the cheekbone areas. But before we start anything, I just wanna explain to you guys kind of the general area of where you want to be bronzing and contouring, because you don't want to just start buffing all over your cheek area, because that'll just like really odd and really off, and you'll be walking out looking super tan compared to the rest of your body. So don't do that. You want to kind of look at where your cheek range is, where your jawline is, where your kind of your cheekbone area is. You can kind of even feel it around if you want. And my rule of thumb that I like to keep in mind, I like to start at the tip of my ear right here, kind of where, I don't know what this part of your ear is called, but right here, and you're gonna kind of draw an imaginary line from here down to the corner of your mouth. Another trick is you can suck your cheeks in and you can kind of feel the hollows. So I know Charlotte Tilbury, she likes to say, follow the hollows. Now, you don't want to bring your bronzer or contour all the way down to your mouth, because that's really gonna droop your face down, and it also just looks awkward, so don't do that either. So you're gonna kind of come down from the tip of your ear, maybe about like halfway. So like for me, if I look at it, I'm gonna go from the tip of my ear to where the edge of my eye is. So if you look at the edge of your eye and bring that down, it's about halfway. I'm gonna bronze and contour right in this area, and you don't wanna bring it up too high. You kind of wanna start in this space and keep it kind of right in this region. And like I said, this really depends on your face shape, how big or small your face is, how long or wide it is. So it really depends. So kind of, look at your own, like your facial features and everything, and you can kind of decide what looks right, what looks proportionate, because I guarantee like how I contour with my face and my like shape and how everything's proportioned and where my eye sits, it's gonna be different from the next person. So you really gotta kind of look at your face and what looks natural. I'm gonna go back in with our bronzer. And this brush is so easy because I can just kind of go back and forth real quick, and it gives me the shape because it's so much fatter than other brushes. So I'm gonna start right here. Kind of work back and forth like so. So we're really just warming up this area of the face. You can even start to, once you have kind of like your main product on your skin, start to buff it up into the side like so. This isn't supposed to be sharp and defined because this is just your bronzer. We're just warming up our face. I kind of like to look at my bronzer as the guideline for how I want to contour my face, if that makes sense. So now that we've done our cheekbones, we're gonna move down to our jawline. Now our jawline, like I said, this varies from person to person how their face shape is. I have a pretty defined jawline for the most part, so I don't ever feel like I have to put too much on there. But this is just kind of like a general area of where if you want to create that illusion of having more of a jawline, I'm going to show you how to create that. So for starters, like I said, you want your face to be proportionate and evened out. You don't want to just have, bronzer contour in one spot. So we're going to continue on with the bronzing, keeping it right under that jawline. And make sure when you do it, you work it up and connect it. So now that we've finished with bronzing, we're gonna move on to contouring, really sculpting those areas of our face. For starters, I'm gonna be going in with my Maybelline Fit Me Pressed Powder. This is not a contouring powder. It's not something that you would generally use to contour. It is a pressed powder. However, I find it very hard to find like powders to really contour with because sometimes they come off too orange on me just because I am so fair. So for this portion, I'm going to be going in with my Morphe M437. First of all, let me explain this brush to you. I love this brush. It's very round, very flat and fluffy, and I don't know, I use it on my clients a lot actually, and I just feel like it's the perfect size to get exactly where you want. You can put it at an angle if you want more of a fine or sharp line, or you can go straight on and really buff it into your skin. So this brush is really versatile. You can use it for your bronzer, contouring, even your blush or highlight. So I really enjoy this brush. So for starters, we're gonna be swirling our product into our brush, tapping off the excess. And we're gonna do the same motion as we did before. So we're gonna start up on our forehead. And generally when I'm doing my personal makeup, I will generally start with my cheekbones and then kind of go to my forehead and then jump down to my jawline. But just to make this more simplified and easier for you guys, I'm just going from basically top to bottom. So once again, we're gonna start by going back and forth with our forehead area, really working this in to the hairline. And if you feel like it's a little choppy, don't worry, we're gonna go out and blend that after. So don't worry about that part yet. We're just gonna work on buffing this into our hairline, working it back and forth, really creating more of that shadow depth and dimension. We're gonna start working it down. You can even dab the product if you want and then buff it. Okay, so we're gonna be moving on to the cheekbone. We're gonna be doing the same motions. So starting at the top of the ear, going about halfway. And I'm just gonna kind of go this back and forth swiping motion. You'll start to kind of see a line form a little bit. See how that line is becoming a lot more defined? So if you look onto the side of your face head on, it looks a lot more slimmed down now, as you can see. But we're gonna blend all this out. I'm gonna kind of connect the two up into the hairline. And then we're gonna be moving down towards the jawline. So I'm gonna connect the two real quick right here. Don't forget this area, it's very important. And then for your jawline, what I like to do is take some product, put it on my brush. You can kind of feel where your jawbone is, your jaw right in here and your chin. And basically what I'm gonna do is stick it right up in there, right underneath. We're gonna go back and forth. Now this part is really important that you need to blend this out, and we'll get to that. You really wanna follow right underneath that jawline, just follow the jawline. And do you see how sculpted that is compared to this side? Hopefully the camera's picking it up because I can see it in my mirror right now that this side is a lot more defined because of that versus this side. Okay, so now you can take your brush. All the product should be on your face by now, and we're just gonna start kind of working it down and brushing it down, moving that product down. You can even go right on each side of your throat right here, kind of where that indent is, bringing it down. So now to blend everything out, I'm just gonna be going in with my powder brush. And I'm gonna buff everything so that it's nice and smooth, basically. So for this part, I don't like to go directly where I put the product on because sometimes that can wipe it away. So I like to go on the edges. So generally in the center of my forehead, and I'll kind of just start buffing the edges and blending the edges out. Because you wanna keep that shadow on the edges where your hairline is, but you want it to blend smoothly into your foundation and into your powder. Same with the edges right here. It's kind of hard not to go on top of the product on the side of your face, but that's okay. Now once again with our cheekbones, I like to kind of go, because I don't want to lose the product, so I like to kind of go above where I place the bronzer and contour shade and really smooth that out. Underneath it, you can go over it a little bit, but just be careful to not wipe away all that product. And then moving down to the neck and the jawline, this is the only part that I don't care if you like go on top of the product because you want to like blend it out and not make it so harsh of a line anyways. So you can literally go to town right here underneath your jawline and just buff everything out. Bring it down, work it down into your neck, up into your ear, and just really blend all that out so that it's not as harsh. You'll still have that shadow, but it'll be a lot more seamless and natural looking rather than, oh wow, she's got contour and bronzer underneath her jawline, you know what I mean? All right, so we have just contoured and bronzed our entire face. I'm gonna show you guys some other areas that you can contour too, that you don't have to necessarily do that. This depends on your personal preference, but I'm gonna show you guys nose contouring. Now, I don't really do a whole lot of nose contouring. That's why I never really talk about it, just because, as you can see, I have a pretty skinny nose, so I don't really wanna make that any more thinner. You know, the point of nose contouring is if you have a wider nose to kind of hone that in and make it more slim looking. So if you do have a wider nose, then by all means I'll show you how to do that. But for those of you that have a skinnier nose, sometimes I'll just go in and take my bronzer and contouring brush and I'll quickly go on the side just to kind of create that more of that shade right there so that once again it's more proportioned to my entire face. So for nose contouring, you don't need a super large brush. You can take a smaller brush if you're really wanting to contour and shade out those areas. I generally will take my contour shade that's a little bit more of a cooler tone versus the bronzer. I just feel like that looks better in this area of your face, my personal preference. I'm just gonna take this small blending brush and I'm going to follow kind of where my eyebrows and this brow bone area come down into my nose on the sides. I'm just gonna kind of follow this down on the side of my nose. And like I said, this isn't something that I ever really do. This is a step that I like to skip, but I just want to show this for those of you that do want to contour your nose. Just kind of working it up and down like so. Now you can take it and kind of buff it out onto the sides so that there's no harsh lines. If you want to shorten your nose, you can also go right underneath if you feel like your nose is too long. You go right underneath right here. It gives it the illusion that it's shorter. So if you're wanting to shorten it, just put a little bit underneath here, and it gives it more of a kind of lifted effect almost. And then another spot on your nose that you can shade, and this is if you want more of kind of like a rounder button nose, so to say. You go right on the bridge, right on the lower half of your nose right here. You can kind of dust back and forth. So if you kind of look at it, you're almost making like an H. So now I'm going to blend this out a little bit. I'm just going to take my under eye powder brush that I was using. Just kind of blend everything out. My nose looks really snatched right now. I am not used to this. So. Okay, and then lastly, for contouring and shading areas, we're going to show you the lips. So for the lips, this is a really good idea, especially if you want to have more fuller lips. I will take my contour shade, same brush that I used for my nose, and I will go right underneath my bottom lip, kind of where this dip is right here, that kind of little pocket area. Stick my brush in there, and I'll go back and forth. You can kind of pout your lips too to make it stand out more. This really gives the shadow and the illusion that your lips are fuller. I don't ever really do this step just because I have a fuller bottom lip, or more so if anything, do it on the top, which you technically should do before you put your lips on, but since I was going to be doing the face, I felt like it was awkward to have this whole video playing without having any lips on my face, and it was really bothering me, so that's why I have lips on. But I would generally do this step before you have any lipstick on. Okay, so now that we have sculpted and bronzed and contoured our entire face, we're going to be moving on to blush. I love blush. I think blush is amazing. If you don't ever feel like contouring or bronzing or anything, if anything, throw some blush on, because I just think it is so beautiful on people's skin at that, just that nice rosy like flush look. I just think it's nice. So blush is one of my favorite things to put on my face for sure. So what I'm going to be using today for my blush, this is Ciate London blush. This is in the shade Halo. This is their marbled light blush. Now I know on camera this might look kind of dark maybe. I know it does in person, but it's really not. To apply my brush, I'm going to be going in, this is the IT Cosmetics brush. It's just an angled brush. I feel like this is really nice for your blush. You can even use this for contouring and bronzing. I was using this for contouring and bronzing at one point, and I loved it. It's perfect where it like just sits right into your cheekbone areas, and you can literally just work it back and forth, and it places the product really nicely. So I know Morphe has brushes that are similar to this, but an angled brush is what I prefer to use when I'm applying blush. So I'm gonna grab the product. I like to kind of keep the product mainly on, I guess, the top half of the brush, if you say. So when I'm swirling it around, I'm kind of lifting up the bottom edge, so I'm not putting as much on there as I am the top. And then for placement, what I like to do is like I said, it kind of depends on your face shape and everything, but I like to keep it, if you smile, is a good trick, right on the apples of your cheek. You don't want to bring it in too far, but you want to kind of keep it right on the apples of your cheeks like this, and even kind of work it up if you want to. Now, one thing you don't want to do, I see a lot of people do this, and a common mistake is just going back and forth like that. You will look like you have a pink version of your contour above it. You'll start to have like a rainbow on your face, and it's not cute. So when you're applying it, I like to do a patting or stippling motion. So by that, I mean kind of like pouncing back and forth. Now for the goal of your blush, you don't want it to be like, oh wow, she's got blush on her face, or she looks like a porcelain doll with those little like, you know, circled blush areas. You want it to look like it's natural, like you have a naturally flushed face. So I feel like by stamping it like this, it looks a lot more like I'm flushed in the face. I'm putting a little bit more on than I usually do just to kind of show you guys the placement. So when I'm putting it right on my face like that, I kind of like to bring any excess and bring it up. And I'll show you guys too, if you apply too much blush, how to kind of backtrack and tone it down a little bit as well. But we're gonna start right here, just pouncing. You can even smile so you know where the apples of your cheeks are. Taking whatever is left and bringing it up. And make sure that you're not bringing it too far low, because once again, the lower you go, the more elongated your face is gonna look, more droopy it's gonna look. So keeping it right up on those apples. And that's once again why I like to keep it on the top half of this brush, so that if I'm putting it on the bottom half of this brush, I'm not making the mistake of accidentally bringing it too low. Okay, so now that I have a lot of blush on my face, I'm gonna tone this down a little bit, because I just wanted to show you guys the product placement, but now personally for me, this is way too much blush. So to tone it down, you're just gonna take your powder brush, and you're gonna kind of lightly tap over it. You can even buff up. Always buff up. If you're applying your blush, don't be going down, because you're gonna bring that product down, so always buff up. Now see the difference, how this is a lot more toned down, natural, flush looking. We're gonna do the same for this side. Buffing up into the cheekbone. So now that our blush on our cheeks is good, I'm going to do one more thing with the blush. This is a new trend that's been going around for a while. I love doing it because I feel like it gives a nice sun-kissed look, like you've been outside in the sun a lot. I'm going to take that same blush brush and I'm going to dust it right over the top of my nose. Just going to go back and forth like this really quickly. And I love this look because for me, when I get sunburned, my nose always gets sunburnt. So I just think this is cute because it gives you like a nice rosy, like, ooh, she was out in the sun today kind of look. And once again, if this is too much on your nose, just dust over it with your powder brush to tone it down. Okay, so time for highlight. Highlight is always a favorite for a lot of people. Believe it or not, I'm not a huge highlight person. I know it sounds crazy to say that I'm not a huge highlight person at all. I do like a highlight. I always put a little bit on, but I am not one of those people that wants to walk out strobing. I know. So that's just my personal preference. You do whatever fits you. If you want to shine like a disco ball and, you know, shine from the high heavens, then be my guest. But I'm going to show you guys what I use and what I like to do with my highlighter. So what I've been using lately that I absolutely, oh my gosh, I love this highlighter so much. Like, it is all the rave. Like, let me tell you, I'm not just saying it just to say it. Like, this is my favorite highlighter. I will be purchasing this again. It's perfect. So this is the Jaclyn Hill Luminous Powder in the shade Brighten Up. This is a powder highlight. You can use this as a setting powder, which I do some days, but for most days I just use it as a basic highlighter. It's a loose powder. It's just beautiful. It's smooth. It's fine. It's not chunky. It's not glittery. It's really good for actually bridal makeup. So if you're a bride or you're a makeup artist that does brides, this is very, very beautiful for brides because it really gives that glow from within look and that natural glow, which I love. I'm gonna dust a little bit in this cap right here. I'm just gonna swirl a little bit in this brush. This is her brush that actually goes with this product. It is the J01 brush. Very, very soft and fluffy. So for highlighter, when we say highlight, we want to highlight the high parts of our face. So when I highlight, I like to do the tip of my cheekbones, right on the sides right here. Sometimes you can do the apples of your cheeks. You can do your nose. I like to highlight my nose. The tip of your cupid's bow with your lip to kind of bring up that upper lip, kind of make it look a little bit more pouty. You can highlight your brow bone area, especially if you're doing an eye look. It really kind of brings it out. You can even highlight your forehead. Not everyone's going to want to do that, especially if you're oily, you really don't want to do that. But if you want to have just like a nice, beautiful glow, which this product gives you, you can also highlight part of your forehead as well. I'm just going to kind of run through really quickly of how I highlight my face. There's not really specific trick to how you do this. Like I said, this highlighter is very light, so you can put this all over your face if you want. I would not recommend that for other highlighters. I would recommend the parts of your face like I showed you. So for starters, I'm gonna go right on the tip of my cheekbone and just kind of go back and forth. And then I really like to go into circular motions and buff it into your skin. When you go like this and you buff it into your skin, it looks a lot more natural than if you just have a streak, if that makes sense. So buffing in circular motions, and then I'm going to kind of work up onto my forehead. That's how I generally will highlight my face. So I will go even on the apples of the cheeks like this. Not everybody likes that, so that's your personal preference. But just kind of swirling in circular motions up onto the forehead. And you see how nice it just gives you that nice sheen, really highlights the high points of your face. So I'm going to move on to the nose. I'm just going to do a little bit right on the tip. This is going to give you the illusion that you have more of like a button nose. And then right on the bridge of your nose, kind of just like to lightly dust that all up and down like so. We're gonna go right across the cupid's bow. And then the last part I'm gonna do is my brow bone area. I don't have any eyeshadow on right now, so I'm gonna continue to use this fluffy brush. If I were to have an eyeshadow look on or anything like that, I would use more of a smaller defined brush. But since we don't have anything on, I'm just gonna close my eye and literally just go back and forth like this and kind of connect it almost. Now you certainly don't have to do this much highlighter. I'm just showing you all the ways that you can add highlighter to the different parts of your face, but you certainly do not have to do every single part that I'm doing. Cute. You can even put some right on your chin if you want. And then if you feel like there's any parts of your face that you might have too much highlighter and you want to tone it down a little bit, once again, take your powder brush and just kind of work it right on top. I sometimes like to just do this as a last touch to just once again kind of blend everything together. Okay, so now that I have everything on my face, we've bronzed, we've contoured, put blush, highlighter, everything is set on my entire face. I'm actually gonna set my face one more time with a setting spray. So I'm gonna go back in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, the same spray that I used to set my base after I had originally powdered my face in the first video. And once again, we're gonna go all over the face and then on each side so that we coat everything all the way around. Alrighty guys, so that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you were able to learn something new that you can take away and add to your makeup routine. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so that you guys are aware when I upload and post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know you stopped by, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.